detection means we understand, cause we are detection means. Dude, I got this cool thing to show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff. Boy, so yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the detection modes. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the detection modes. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the detection modes. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the detection modes. Cool.
Hey, everybody. You
didn't have to turn it off, man. I got it.
Hey, welcome to Tech Shamans. Hey, everybody. We got Adam and we've got Anthony today. Oh, that's awesome. What did I do? All right, we're gonna play a video for you real quick, about 4 minutes. We're gonna talk about this. Play that Asgard thing, and then I'll fix this.
Elon Musk, SpaceX, Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin, Richard Branson, Virgin Galactic, Larry Page, Planetary Resources, Ma Huateng, Moon Express. When you're a billionaire, you fund a space company. It's what you do. But Russian billionaire Igor Ashkerbely is changing things up a bit. Instead of a space company, he is starting a space nation. The Space Kingdom of Asgardia was established on October 12, 2016. Along with Ashkerbely, it was formed by an international group of researchers, engineers, lawyers, and entrepreneurs. Asgardia is a self-declared nation with 3 objectives. 1. To ensure permanent peace in space. 2. To ensure equal opportunities in space for all Asgardians currently residing on Earth, regardless of their earthly citizenship. And 3. To promote the welfare of the entire humankind. According to its constitution, Asgardia is the first independent, free, unitary, and social space nation, which is trans-ethnic and secular, based on morality, fairness, peace, and the equal dignity of every human being. And it looks to the future of the infinite universe and is a kingdom. They want to explore space and exist in space, free from the tight control and restrictions of existing nations. According to Daniel Cleary of ScienceMag.org, by becoming its own nation, Asgardia can bypass the United Nations Outer Space Treaty, which gives nations the duty of overseeing any space activities undertaken from its territory, whether by government bodies, commercial companies, or non-profit organizations. Ultimately, Asgardia aims to be recognized by the United Nations. Per the United Nations website, the process of becoming a recognized nation is as follows. 1. The state must submit an application to the Secretary General and a letter formally stating that it accepts the obligations under the Charter. 2. The Security Council considers the application. Any recommendation for admission must receive the affirmative votes of 9 of 15 members of the Council, provided none of its 5 permanent members such as China, France, Russia, the UK, and the United States have voted against the application. 3. If the Council recommends admission, the recommendation is presented to the General Assembly for consideration. A 2/3 majority vote is necessary in the Assembly for admission of a new state. And 4. The membership becomes effective the date the resolution for admission is adopted. They took a step toward this goal on November 12th when they launched the satellite Asgardia 1 into low Earth orbit. With the Asgardia 1 in orbit, Asgardia claims that it's the first nation to have all its territory in space. The satellite is a storage device that contains files from each of its citizens. You can see the files on Asgardia's website. The files are mainly photos and text, but you can also upload music and video as well. Here you can see at the time of making this video, Asgardia has over 161,000 citizens. It is the 174th ranked nation in the world in population, ahead of Kiribati at over 114,000, and behind St. Lucia at over 186,000. Asgardia has citizens from 220 different countries from around the world, from one citizen from Palau all the way to the United States with over 22,000 Asgardian citizens. Until establishing a permanent presence in space, which Asgardia plans to do in low Earth orbit and also on the moon and beyond, Asgardian citizens will be physically on the Earth, so they will be citizens in their own country at the same time be citizens of Asgardia. Professor of Space Law at Nebraska College of Law, Frans van der Dunk, says that quasi-territory such as a satellite does not fit the definition of territory in international law. Dunk says that even if Asgardia has a permanent presence in space, it will have a hard time being recognized, citing Palestine and Taiwan, who actually have territory and permanent populations, yet is not recognized as states. With Asgardia being barely a year old, we will have to wait and see how things play out, as they are still in the process of creating their government. Reading comments on the forum on their website and Facebook page, people are proud and enthusiastic about being a citizen of the first space nation. And if you believe the work of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, you know that access to space will become cheaper and cheaper in the years to come, and perhaps the kingdom of Asgardia will not seem so radical 50 years from now. While I'm a loyal patriot of the United States with no desire to become a citizen of Asgardia, I find what they're doing who actually have.
That's pretty interesting. If you want to, in my opinion, I'm crooked. I'm sorry about that, Rob. That's pretty. I mean, again, I think it's all about, it's just going to be a rich society only.
No, of course.
Oh, no. There'll be jobs available. And
well, yeah, they need somebody to wipe their ass and pick up their dirty clothes, and yeah, exactly. So it's not going to be like it's going to be personalized. I think it's great for the rich people, but if you're poor, forget about it. Unless you want to work and you live in a little closet up there.
No, isn't that kind of how a lot of things work today?
Nope, no.
Think about it.
Nope.
Think about how many people are out there making $8 an hour, right?
Well, but those people out there making $8 an hour should have went to school or got or some kind of education or a trade school where they don't have to be making $8 an hour.
Program.
Yeah, don't get me started on that crap, because I'm telling you right now, I hear one more person whine about how unfair it is, and I'm like, did you finish high school? Well, no. Well, there you go. Good luck.
Well.
Sorry.
All right.
Go to the military.
What's on the agenda besides moving to Asgardia?
Hey, but today's show is brought to us by the wonderful guys over at call7.com. I don't know if I think I threw Rob a curveball on that one. Call Hot warning. Yeah, I know. I figured it was so it's this morning because we have two Zoomers and me in the house. Anyway, so Call7 is a national provider of cloud telecom services, including cloud phone services, presence of your company anywhere at any time, desktop and mobile apps to keep you informed and in touch with your people, built-in secure Zoom conference, whiteboard and screen sharing, chat and instant messaging, pricing starting as low as $15.77 a month. And if you get ready for it, get 1 month free if you sign up using the code WEBEAM. Why pay more for less? Call or visit www.call7.com, and for more information, get started today, or call or text Larry at 813-567-8777. There you have it. Call 7. They take care
There's
of
a lot of sevens in that number.
There
they
is.
should have like the 7 in their name or
Right?
something.
I know, right? That's so crazy.
Branding.
7777.
Yeah, and actually, God, I can't remember your name. You've not been on her so long. It's just crazy.
Adam.
His name is Adam. Even knows Larry, so yeah. Larry sends him a Larry lets Adam come in and fix all his mess ups. Which they don't ever have because they're awesome.
We need one more change in the audio. I can't hear Adam.
You can't.
You can hear me?
That means Adam has got to be in B. I don't know why. B. No, I'm just telling the tech back in the back. This is a different setup for us than we normally use because we have two Zoomers. It's just the way it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Can you hear it?
Adam's back on.
Yep, there you go. So anyway,
Thank you.
so today we actually have a lot. Now, the first one we're going to talk about is U.S. sanctions make Hawaii, right, more of a security risk, says a leaked UK report. Now, if you don't know who Hawaii is, they make a lot of boards. They make a lot of video boards. They make some communication stuff. So I would probably tell you that inside your machine, you've got a Hawaii product. But they're also the people that are dealing with the Telegraph. I don't know if you guys know what the Telegraph is, but it's a chat type of thing, kinda. And Russia does not like it. Russia does not want you. If you're in Russia, you cannot be. If you get caught using the Telegraph, you can. I looked it up. You can actually get prison time because. And here's the funny thing: a lot of the Russian ambassadors and congregate and the upper ups, they use Telegraph. That's how they get information out of.
But they won't get in trouble.
Mother Russia.
No.
Nope.
They're fine.
No.
They're good.
It's the little people that can't use it.
Of course.
Right.
Right. So but if you read with the article, we put all the articles that we deal with inside our chat, so that are inside the description. So you at home can go get your own. I don't know what's going on, but my pack is like just bleeding me to death. It's horrible. Something got turned on that should have got turned on back there in the back. Anyway. The problem is there's a lot of leaks coming out, and it's become a major issue now. And the UK is even going, hey, this is not good because it kind of involves us too. Oops. So
well, I'm not quite sure how the U.S. dumping a lot of Huawei stuff is actually affecting their security, though.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's where I'm fuzzy on this thing.
Right.
It seems
Let's
like
bring in that other lower third, Rob.
we aren't. Adam, do you have any insight on this?
No, I mean that's just making it sound really odd. Unless they're saying that by people sanctioning them, they're going to be more apt to go ahead and go into black markets, like North Korea or other countries that wouldn't follow the restrictions, would buy into their products and making it more of a security risk. Which I could understand that part, but again, if you're not,
that was the only stretch I could make here. But at that point,
right? I
mean, you've now closed yourself out of the market entirely because nobody's going to touch you. Okay,
Right.
If you become that kind of a security risk, I mean, everybody's going to, and I guess that's what the UK is doing. They're looking at workarounds now for Huawei, okay, so that they don't have to deal with the risk.
Right.
Yeah. So they're marginalizing themselves with this stuff.
They are, which is kind of crazy. So we're gonna jump into. Let me go see if I can find, because we're gonna jump into what Anthony's going to talk about, because sometimes I keep push him in the middle or at the end, and I want to make sure that he gets it, because then the next thing we're going to talk about is we may not get to hardly anything on my list because of what Adam wants to talk about, which I want to talk about. So I was going to talk about this last week, but I'm like, you know what? Adam's not here. He's coming back next week. We'll have him. Okay, so tell me, Anthony, what webmasters should know about Google's core updates?
Yeah. Google has done a core update.
Okay.
In the middle of the pandemic, there was word out that they weren't going to implement it now until 2021. And so a lot of people just backburnered it and okay, I don't have to think about that anymore. And then, surprise, they implemented it almost immediately. And so that was his best side. But in this particular case, what we're looking at is a way that they're tweaking their algorithm to make more and more and more of organic content more important. But in addition to that, how it is presented on the screen. So some people will be seeing themselves falling back in the rankings and getting pushed ahead. And unfortunately, they're going to get beat by people that actually have better content, but that have worse content. Okay, they have the better content, and they're going to find themselves falling back in the rankings, because one of the things they're doing is trying to make the user experience better for the Google users. Remember, the people typing in the information, doing a search, those are Google's customers. And Google has to do what's right for them so that they can stay relevant. We were talking about DuckDuckGo. And one of the reasons it's not very popular is because it's not a very good user experience. And it's the same thing here. They're trying to be the best user experience, which means that they are working hard on making sure that not only is the content right, but also the delivery. I've seen some websites lately that have come in and they thought that because they were on WordPress that they were automatically optimized, for mobile devices. And yeah, maybe, but WordPress has made it real easy to see what your website looks like on the different devices. So you really have no excuse for something that doesn't actually work when you read it on mobile. There's just a bunch of images and then a bunch of paragraphs later on, and then it's just a jumbled mess and isn't actually walking people through the experience of your website that they need. And with about 50% of searches or more being done on phones instead of on desktops, you really need to be out there. And Google is making sure that those people that have a better mobile experience, faster load times, which is crucial, and an overall more coherent message. And what they've done is, this is really good. You can go straight out to the Google Webmaster blog, and they give a fantastic outline of what you should be looking at. And when we're coming at it from the content side, you see stuff like, does the content provide original information, reporting, research, or analysis? See, the key word there is original, because if you're just copy pasting stuff from another site and you got a whole bunch of quotes, all that information is available elsewhere. It also needs to be original. It needs to be insightful. It needs to be something that's not, just obvious to somebody. Like, oh, gee, I want to install an electric inline water heater in my house. So, you look it up and you find a return that says, oh yeah, to install an electric water heater, you'll need to get a water heater that runs on electricity. Okay, believe it or not, there are sites out there that actually do this. They're created by bots, and they just auto-generate these content sites. Google is working hard to eliminate them from their search engines because people don't actually want to go to them. They want to go to you, the local plumber, okay, and the HVAC guy up the road, and I want you to answer my question about what's important. And if you have the best answer, the most relevant and local, guess who's going to get that business? You are, because you've already established a relationship with this person that says, I know what I'm talking about. I know what your questions are. I know how to answer them. Let me help you. And is self-installation right for some people? Yeah, until you start to look at the electrical work involved. It seems really easy. You just unplug this, unplug that, boom, you're done, right? No, you're not. Because you actually have to run new circuit breakers from your box in order to install one of these things. Well, nobody told me that on the other site, but your site told me that. And that's where you need the original information, you need that kind of insight. So in order to drive people to your website using Google, then you've got to really pay attention to Google's rules and stop listening to these people who say, oh, I'll get you on page 1. I'll do all the, yeah, forget it, okay? You are the only one who can get you on page 1, and you've got to do it by being authentic and having your content talk directly to your customers so that they then feel comfortable with you. And that link there gives you a whole list. I mean, it's long of stuff to look at and think about when creating your site and what's necessary. And like I said, this Google update already got put into play, and that surprised a lot of people. Some people found themselves getting jacked up, and they were pretty excited about it. And other old sites found themselves getting delisted, basically. They're getting knocked down to page 2 and 3. And they're like, well, what's wrong? We've been doing great forever. That's the problem. You haven't changed anything in forever, and your site looks like crap on a phone. So they really are enforcing it more strongly. And is anybody there? Adam.
Yes.
Your website. Have you noticed any changes, anything lately?
Nothing major. I did recently change some of my background, my coding in the back to make sure it's up to date, and I can update to the newest WordPress, so I can have all the features I'm supposed to. But I do periodically update my content, either picture-wise. I also put articles up periodically, so it does change. Mm-hmm. So I haven't really noticed any major changes, whether up and down.
No, probably because you're doing it right. Okay.
Yeah,
and so,
I try to,
because
and
you're already
I try
doing
to
the
keep the
organic stuff correctly.
Yeah,
Now,
I try to keep
you
the
mentioned
content
updates. in
Update.
in WordPress. There's an important one right now, okay, and that is PHP version. Now that's in your back end, okay, of your
Yep.
hosting, and if you are at PHP version 7.4 or above, stop. Turn yourself back down to 7.3. Version 7.4 is wicked buggy and is deactivating things that are supposed to function on your website. Like if you've got a form up and you're expecting, that somebody fills out your form, you're going to get an email, you won't get the email. It absolutely is blocking basic functions, okay? And they're working on it, but do not update to 7.4 on the back end of your WordPress site, whatever, or on in your hosting account,
Okay.
regardless of what you're
But
doing.
is there
Get out of 7.4.
is there something coming where it's going to be fixed?
I have no word on it, but it's open source software, okay?
Yeah,
and they
see,
jumped
that's
the gun.
God,
And
that's-
so
Yeah.
the right thing to do is just say, hey, everybody, if you
Look how pretty he is when he's. I've never seen him speechless. He's speechless.
Look at that. It's great.
So in other words, I know what he's probably going to say is, "Hey, don't update right now. You'll be okay until they get it fixed, and watch us, and we'll tell you when." I bet you anything he's got rain over there. Yep.
Maybe it's a good time to also turn off auto updates on if you have them on your server or on your back end.
Right.
Let the tech guys know that you don't want them to upgrade you to the new PHP version until it's been fully tested.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I've always been told that don't update until it's a couple of weeks old or a couple of days old, so you can get all the bugs and all that kind of crap fixed. That's just typically general rule of thumb. I don't upgrade anything until I know for a fact that the issues have been fixed. I mean, I never go by the first
Right.
the first release of anything ever. So, I don't know.
I on the other hand have to test it and play with it and break it so I can make sure that the next person that comes in with it, I can.
That's your job,
I
though.
can figure it out. Yeah, that's my
Right?
job. I get stuck with the crappy stuff.
I don't ever get the fun, cool stuff. Oh crap!
I get to test the cool stuff out at the beginning when it's broken, and then I get all excited about it, and then next thing you know, I'm all bored with it when they finally release the final version.
Right. Like, okay, now it works. Fine. That's
Yeah,
great.
it works.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's okay. It's
When's
all
the next
right.
one coming out?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay, I'm bored of this now because I found all the fixes.
Right.
So, all right. So, we're gonna. Well, I think Anthony. There's a big storm over in our area, and I think it's just killing him right now. His internet's died. So let's just jump on over to the iOS 14. Now, I wanted to talk about this last week, and look at the pretty background that Rob didn't realize it would work, but it's actually working really well. So this iOS 14 and the new back end for Apple is a game changer.
Yeah, well, if you notice, what's beginning to happen is I've spoke about it before that Mac and Apple wants to basically start merging the operating systems into one.
Right.
And Big Sur is that change.
Right.
It is that final. This is the end of the Intel chipsets. This is where Apple is going to take the operating system and what they call the new one that's for the Macs is going to be called Big Sur.
Right.
And it's going to have features of iOS built into it, but it's going to have coding needed to be able to run basically x86 or Intel type processors, for your programs. So this is the beginning of the end of Intel. This is it. And
I don't mean to be mean, but I was upset when they went to Intel in the first place.
Well, listen to this. There was one of the guys that worked with Intel.
Yeah.
In their sixth generation processors, And he's saying that during the 6th gen, there was a lot of bugs in the coding of the processors. So what was beginning to happen is when Apple was starting to code for it and build out their products to work with it, they started finding massive amounts of errors and coding bugs and problems with the chipset. So what ended up happening is he feels, as one of the core engineers during that time, he feels that kind of, you know, is what set the stage for Apple to finally, you know, go full bore with their own product, because, you know, the quality control wasn't there, obviously, and you know, they're sitting here expecting the processors to come in and work properly. And, you know, he's saying when your biggest purchaser of your product is finding more bugs than your own quality assurance, you know, people, then that's an issue. And he thinks that's about the time when Apple really started saying, okay, enough is enough. And, you know, they're going to start producing, you know, they're already producing their own chips anyways. So they might as well.
Yeah, the whole test run's been with the phones and everything else. You know, I remember when the A12 chip, the A2 chip, the A3 chip, the A6 chip, now we're on, what is it, A11 or A13, something like that?
A13, you're talking about the phones, A12s in the iPads. And get this, during that product launch, when they were talking about iOS 14 and the new features and everything, the demos that were being done for the computers, for Big Sur, that was all running on the A12 Z processor, which is the same one that's in the iPad Pro today.
Right.
So that Mac was built with that processor, and they used it as a test bed to run Big Sur, which means, you know what that means, though?
What?
That means Big Sur is already capable of running on Apple's SoCals, their chipsets that they already made.
Right. Yeah. We knew that, you know, I think we talked about this a year ago, this is the way to push out Intel. But the downside is, now I read the other day that, Boot Camp or something like that will not run Windows.
Now, this is going to be an issue. Yes, Boot Camp is not going to work because obviously, and now that technically that might not be so true, because you could technically still install Boot Camp, because remember, Microsoft has been working on getting their processors to be able to run on ARM chipsets, which means which basically Apple products are basically modified ARM chips anyways, that they've designed and coded. So there should be no reason that as that time comes when they finally make the big push away from Intel, that Microsoft wouldn't already be aligned with being able to install onto those chipsets.
Okay, so they're designing the chips to actually be able to run. I guess because as a warrior, because I used to be a Mac guy. Now I had to, because of what we do streaming wise, the Macs won't stream like a PCs will. But Adobe said, "Hey, we're going to make this so all the machines can run this," and I think that's why the push for Intel, in my personal opinion, in the Macs, because for us to run Adobe, we used to have to buy a separate Adobe system to run on a Mac. You couldn't take an Adobe disk and go from Mac to PC, right? So, and now that Adobe has become downloadable, it gives you the ability to run on both sides. But has Adobe said, okay, well, now we're going to redesign the software, so if it's on a Mac, it's going to be different? I mean, the looks are different.
They don't have to. If, as a matter of fact, during the conference, Apple released some information that they have. I believe they called it Xcode. I'm not quite sure exactly what it was called, but it allows the developers to continue to make their software cross-compatible without having to change the coding of their current products. So it can read and send the executables that are needed for Intel and vice versa back and forth. So, they don't have to rewrite all new software for the new kind of processor. They can make one software pack, install this one code snippet that Apple's releasing, and it'll work across both platforms with no problems.
Well,
and being that most of the software is web-based most of the time, anyways nowadays, it's just easy for them to be able to put that coding in there.
Right. I mean, we only have, I think we have 2 more machines left in the studio that are Macs that we actually edit on. The rest, everything else, unfortunately, is PC. It became easier. I love my Mac.
Remember, too, Microsoft did the push and was able to get Windows running on ARM processors. That was when Microsoft Surface tablets first came out, during Windows 8.1. Those first-generation Surface tablets were ARM processors. They were Tegras.
Really?
NVIDIA Tegras, yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
But the only problem is when they first released the operating system, you weren't allowed to run any kind of regular Microsoft applications that you purchased not from the Microsoft Store.
Okay.
And that was the problem. And that would confuse people when they bought the first Surface tablets. They're like, okay, well, it looks like Windows. It feels like Windows. It must be Windows. But then they ran into the problem that they couldn't really – it was Windows, but it could only run anything that was built within the Microsoft Store.
Right.
So that's why that first generation ended up getting dumped, and that Windows 8.1 that basically was tablet edition. I forgot what they called that one. But it was the first test, and it really did work. And ever since then, Microsoft has already committed themselves to bringing Windows over to ARM with keeping with what everybody understands and sees today. That's why the big push for Office 365 and all these cloud-based type of applications, which are going to be necessary for this kind of progression to happen.
Right.
But I will say in iOS,
It's just starting to make me wonder of, are they, as much as, I love the Mac world, I'm just not so sure that they're really that ready to make this change. You know what I'm saying?
Well, iOS 13 that we're all on today has been very buggy from the get-go. There's bugs in it even today as they release updates. They can't iron it out. That operating system ended up being pushed really too quickly.
Right.
There was a lot of issues going on with it right off the bat.
Rob, hold on a second, Anthony. Rob, okay, thanks.
They pushed a lot of updates on it very quickly and rapidly.
Right.
But there's still a lot of issues with like internet connectivity with your phones. You'll lose cellular connectivity very quickly. Wi-Fi, just constant bugs within the operating system that have really not been ironed out. And I think iOS 14 is Apple's going to be able to really show what they're capable of and bring it back to more quality, better quality control. Don't push features that are not ready yet. Just because they talked about it, don't push it right out right away. Or if a new feature is getting ready to happen, let's not talk about it until it's ready to be released. I think they've really the redesign of the operating system is really cool. Like the feature, I like the feature where you're able to find your applications a little better. if you ever look on your iPhone, you're trying to find an app, you always put them into those little folders, trying to group them together to make
Right.
it easier to find all your stuff.
Yep.
Now, if you look on the far right on that picture right there, where they're grouped together, those that app library feature will automatically group those for you and say, hey, these are type video apps, these are these kind of apps. You know what I mean?
Right.
And notice how you can put the widgets that were on. When you swiped all the way to the left, and you had those little widgets that would pop up of just screen snippets.
Yeah.
So now the widgets can literally be resized and added directly to the home screen, something that's been able to be happening. Look at the different sizes on the home screen of the apps. So if you want more content, you'll be able to do that, which is really, really cool.
So it's gonna do that by itself?
The app, hold on one sec on that scroll. The app library feature, yes. The app library right there. You'll be able to how like you can have like multiple home screens, the different pages. You'll be able to hide some of those pages so you can only see two of them. Okay, of the two home pages that you normally use most of the apps with.
Uh-huh.
But if you swipe one more time, that's when that whole app library will show up of everything that you have in the phone without having to be on a whole nother one page.
Oh, that's...
And this will give you different little tiles and smaller and larger versions of the apps of things that you probably opened sooner than later, and allow you to be able to see everything in one screen instead of having to search for God knows how long to find something.
Right.
And you also, if you look back too, when a telephone call comes in, say you're in an app and you're working and you're doing something, now your notification for your phone call is going to be smaller. Instead of taking up your whole screen.
Yeah, it stops everything you do.
Right. Now it won't stop everything you do. Same thing with Siri. They're gonna make Siri a smaller space on the screen, instead of blocking out your whole screen and whiting it out and making it transparent.
Right.
To just tell you, hey, this is what I found on the web because I can't answer your question right.
Right. Yeah.
That never happens.
So instead of filling the whole screen and blocking it out, now they're going to put a little Siri's going to be in the bottom, and it's going to most likely be just a small animation that just spits out some information.
Because I watched. I didn't get to watch it live. I had to catch it afterwards. I watched some of it live, but I didn't get to watch all of it live. And some of them, I'm like, this is fantastic. I mean,
okay. Here's a good one. A good idea for you. You know how, like, say for instance, you're on a FaceTime call and you're like talking to somebody, and you got to quickly go into, like, for instance, you got to go on Facebook and you need to go ahead and answer a question somebody said to you.
Right.
Now they're going to offer picture-in-picture, which means that person should not get paused while on FaceTime. You should still be able to stay within your call.
Right.
And open that other app and now continue to do your work without making you look like, you're putting them on pause, because this person, why am I paused? Why am I paused? Well, it's because I'm working.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, it's because you're not as important as this message.
Yeah,
which I thought was important. Then I found out it isn't, and now I've got nothing. Yes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That, to me, that's cool. Yeah, there is a lot of things that I did not like. The fact that when I would go out of something, to like if I wanted to send a link to somebody, when like FaceTime, I wanted to send a link to them, and I'm like, well, hold on a second. I should have been able to keep on that call, go find the link,
Yes.
go to text, and text it to them while I'm talking to them. But instead, I had to. But the minute I go, well, hold on, and I had to put them on hold, which was, to me, that I just didn't understand. Of course, but here's the thing. Apple has always been that way. It's just, for the video world, one of the reasons we do not use Apple or Mac.
Phone call comes in.
Well, not just that. I mean, on our normal laptops or computers, we can't ever stream with those because they don't accept multiple video inputs.
Right.
One input at a time, period. And with streamers, like right now, we have 3 inputs plus all of our videos and stuff like that. Mac won't, and Mac still can't do it. Even if I tried running Boot Camp once, or what's the other one? There's another emulator for Windows.
Parallel.
Yeah, even then, vMix, like say a software we use is vMix, it wouldn't work.
You ready for this?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. So, purchased the wife a new 16-inch MacBook Pro.
Okay.
Intel i9, 16 gigs, 1 terabyte solid state, and we needed to go ahead, and she wants to have us put Boot Camp on it and wants the Windows on it.
Right.
Not a problem. Done it millions of times. Now we're running Mojave. It's a whole different game. This is the coolest thing is I did not have to create a thumb drive with the Windows image this time.
Okay.
Instead, I downloaded the regular Windows image from the media creation tool, dumped it onto the hard drive of the Mac. As you start partitioning the drive and getting ready, it says, "Where's your Windows install ISO?" I say, "Here it is." Pointed to it, and it installed Windows 10 almost instantaneously onto the Boot Camp. Did not have to create a bootable thumb drive. Did not have to reboot into that thumb drive. It just did everything. And I was like, wow, that's awesome.
So you're saying but I read an article last week that Boot Camp's not going to support Windows.
I just did on the brand new MacBook 16 that just came out.
Yeah, but that's not with the new. I'm saying with the new. But is that an Intel?
No,
Yeah, with the new
that's
Apple
an
chip.
It's Intel i9.
Right.
They're only going to release the new chip on a 21-inch iMac first.
Right. And
So,
that's what I'm saying. That's one of the downsides of the new, going to the new Apple chips is, everybody's saying, well, that's not going to let you run Boot Camp. More Windows.
Like I said, not necessarily. That might not be the case. Again, here we have the capability of Microsoft, and Apple's probably going to keep in pretty good contact. They did during migration of their Office 365 into Big Sur. You'll notice that they also showed that running Microsoft Office 365 was running.
Well, yeah, I mean, but
Big Sur,
even back in
but it was not an Intel chip.
right, but even back in the day when it was still Apple Pros, I could still buy Microsoft for Apple.
Right. So
But it wasn't.
But that people are getting. They're saying, "Oh well, you're not going to be able to run Boot Camp." No, that's not going to be the case. That's a good selling point for Apple. You tell people that you're going to be stuck on one ecosystem right off the bat. Apple's a hardware company. They have to sell product in order to stay alive, not software.
Yeah.
Right.
Microsoft is a software company. They need to sell software to stay alive.
Right.
The two of them are harmonious. They have to kind of work together at some point.
But that's my question. I mean, I understand the Microsoft and even Adobe, but
That's the question I had was Adobe.
once you go to a non-Intel chip, Microsoft Windows won't want to run on it. Are they going to build a whole separate Windows for Mac now?
They won't have to, because if you notice, Microsoft, every version that updates to the next one, we're getting ready to release. Well, Windows 10 2004 is releasing right now.
Right.
That is a more refined. If you look at it, it's starting to look kind of Mac-ish.
Yeah.
Design.
Didn't notice that. Yeah. Why? I have a question for you, Adam. Why don't they call it Update 2020 and Update 2021 and Update 2022 instead of Update 2004? To me, it goes, well, that's just how far behind you guys are.
They're going by the build numbers, not the particular dates that they're releasing it.
They should, though. And someone tell me.
No, because then all updates this year would have the same name.
Well, it'd be Update 2020-8 for August or -9 for September.
Why did we go from 1909 and jump all the way to 2004?
Right. There. See. It doesn't make any
That
sense.
was
to me.
kind of weird because now when I said, "Oh, look, there's a new version, 2004 coming out," my wife looked at me and says, "2004."
2020.
Well, that's because it's based on my memory, and I got nothing between 2000. It's like nothing.
That's awesome.
It's just a big blur.
Oh, that's why they call it Big Sur, because the
Well,
big
and
blur.
Oh, there you have it.
And
Yeah.
did you
So
know?
Dr.
And hey,
Seuss could use it in a book.
John, you said you didn't like the new Edge browser.
And I'm glad you said that because, here's Microsoft forced Windows updates just synced to a new logo with Edge. Why? Why do this?
No, listen. Look, the new Edge, dude. Listen, this new Edge is really cool. It's so cool that Google Chrome went in and took the process that Intel's engineers did for the Chromium
Yeah.
to cut back on CPU usage for Google Chrome. So the next update of Google Chrome is going to be taking from Edge what Microsoft put into building the Chromium
Really?
off of that Chromium. Yes, because you ever open a Google Chrome and you have 10 Google Chrome instances running, and you're wondering why
Yes.
your processor's running
Yes.
kind of hot. And
Yes.
that feature was fixed when Microsoft built Edge off the Chromium platform.
Right.
They fixed that. And now Google's like, wow, that was kind of cool. How'd you do that? So they got some of that coding, and they're going to input that coding and that feature into the new Google Chrome as they upgrade their Chrome.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny that Microsoft was able to build off of that Chromium something better than Google Chrome themselves was able to build off of it. But believe it or not, the cool thing is, if you say for instance you install the new Edge browser and you always use Google Chrome, and you want to bring over all your links and everything,
Passwords.
and your favorites, it integrates seamlessly. Not only does it integrate seamlessly, but it also takes all the extensions and apps that you would have had in the Google Chrome and brings them over to the Edge also. So if you're using if you're using Windows in a Microsoft environment, so you sign into it with a Microsoft account,
Right.
and you have Edge synced to that Microsoft account, then anytime you move to a new computer, your Edge content will also move with you.
Huh.
So it'll
if you
work
sign
like
into
an Apple. Wow, that's great. It'll be
Exactly.
just like Safari.
Yes. So the same
Yeah.
this app. If you use
Somebody's
if you
calling
use-
somebody somewhere.
If you use Microsoft, if you use the Windows login
Right.
for your
Yeah.
PC,
Yeah.
then say for instance you go to somebody's house and you needed to use their computer, sign out of their account and sign into your own, all your links, all your stuff, just like in Mac OS will come right over, including all your website favorites if you use the Edge.
Really?
Everything will come in.
Well, that's the same way
You're
Chrome works. If you log out of their Chrome and you log into, Windows Chrome, and then you log into your Chrome account, now you just got to make sure that when you log out of yours, you make sure they don't remember that you logged in.
Exactly. Yeah. Because your stuff will come across and sync to
So,
theirs. And
so
let you
if
know.
this is really a really good product put out by Microsoft, a brand new browser experience that's really that's cutting edge and absolutely worth it, it probably means that they won't update it for 20 years, right?
No, they'll probably drop it next week.
Yeah. It
But
was
they'll
a
have a new one.
failure. It was a
It'll
failure.
be called Vista Edge. No.
Oh,
It'll be
my
like,
God.
It's like, oh, Windows Phone is starting to come around. We're starting to get a following. Oh, it's gone.
Yep.
Millennium Edge. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, don't forget you can install Microsoft Edge today on your Mac.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
yay. No.
Yeah, I'm going to
No,
run
no.
out and not do
No.
that. Sorry.
No
You
Oop.
I'm a hater.
know you
What can I
want
say?
Bing. You know you want Bing.
No.
And if you happen to have any of my Macs at your shop, no, you are not welcome to install any Microsoft products on them. Thank you, Adam.
So, Adam, what do you got in the store? What do you got in the store this week? Anything good?
What did we just get? What? we had we just built a custom gaming rig for a guy. That was real nice. I got an iMac. We have an older iMac, 27-inch in stock. We have an HP desk. I forgot what that one is. High-end little HP desktop.
Oh yeah, that's those little bitty things, right?
Yes, that particular one is capable of outputting to 3 DisplayPort monitors, and also it is 256 solid state with an i5. I think it's 7th or 8th gen processor.
Do you get 2 of
But
those?
I have one of them, but it's only about this. It's about as big as an Apple TV,
Yeah.
and it's thinner than one. It's a Pro Desk.
I need 2 of those.
I know those things are awesome.
2 of those. I need 2. I'm trying to replace the laptops back there for Zoom, so that way we can have a Zoom rack back there and all
I'm
nice,
getting ready to
clean, and pretty.
finish up. From our LAN center, I have another gaming computer getting ready to go out.
Yeah.
I'll probably have that out either
Cool.
today or tomorrow.
We've got about 6 minutes left, and I want to talk about something I find kind of interesting, almost cool. That Walmart is converting its parking lots into pop-up drive-in theaters for the summer.
Isn't that great?
I think that's really cool.
I'm going to be a dissenter here. I think that's terrifying. Have you ever tried to drive in a Walmart parking lot? It is like the most dangerous place in the world.
You gotta
okay?
have
you
gotta have
it. It's a horrible
you
idea.
have to have
People
a
will be,
vehicle.
like, driving over each other, smashing into each other, just to get like closer to the screen.
Well, you gotta
I
have-
don't know.
Well,
It's
yeah, but Anthony, you drive a golf cart.
yeah. That when I
See, I drive a
that,
Hummer. I don't have. I
when
literally don't
drive
have
the
any
truck,
problem.
They're like, "Oh, you're not the boss of me," you know.
Well, you're not.
He has no problems with it, but his Hummer driving by the screen. Get the Hummer out of the way.
Yeah, that's it. He'll be sitting behind me going, "That's not fair. You don't have the big vehicle. You shouldn't be in front." All the little cars up
worry.
front, all the big trucks in the back.
And they're going to have the Walmart employees bringing out popcorn
Yeah.
and sodas to everybody, right?
Hey, well, you know what? And all you do is transmit on an FM transmitter.
You know what? They
Yeah.
have it made right there. They probably have an FM transmitter right in the store already. They probably have
Guaranteed.
most of all the technology done.
Yep. Guaranteed they
Yep.
got it there.
It's
So
all right there.
I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cool.
It.
And
Well,
here's-
I just got a 110-inch screen for like 124-inch screen for Father's Day.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of awesome. It's 110 wide at the top, so the diagonal is going to be like about 120. Yep, that's
do the
an
math in my
amazing
head.
picture.
Well, I tell you what, I tell you, the other day I had July 3rd was Friday. I had 7 phone calls going, "Hey, we want to do an outside picture. You know, we want to watch a movie outside." I said, "Yeah, go buy a sheet and go buy a $300 LCD projector over at Sam's Club or wherever, and then there you go." Well, we need speakers. Well, then go to Sam's Club and buy a couple of those Eon, the lighty, glowy things, hook everything up together, and there you go. You're done. We want you to set it up. No, a piece of string.
Interesting. Did find a neat rig that I needed.
What's that?
Okay, in order to make my projector work.
Yeah.
That was it's called an audio scraper. Never heard of it before, but I knew there had to be one. And what it is it plugs in between the Apple TV and the projector. And what it does is it siphons off the audio to a separate device for you. You can just plug it in, and it's like $30-$40. And so you can plug in your Bluetooth speakers right in between your Apple TV and your projector, and you get phenomenal sound.
Wait a minute. So you're trying to get audio to speakers, and does your projector not have an audio out?
No, a lot of projectors don't. And mine has a speaker inside, which is really, not very good. And so I wanted to hook up the Bose sound system to it, and you can't stream from your phone. And one of the things I was doing was trying to stream from my phone. to my Apple TV to do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
should've called
and that
me.
wouldn't work either. So I couldn't do audio this way, video that way.
Off your phone.
And yeah,
Off
They got
your
a couple
phone.
of
so
home
or
pods.
off anything.
They're $100
Okay.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have these in the studio. You should have called me. I have these little modules you plug into your phone that will pull the audio out and send it Bluetooth.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, this was like 30. I think it might have been $25. I don't know.
Yeah, a little blue square, right?
But it was just it strips it, and now we have a hardwire connection straight into
Yeah.
straight into the sound system.
So okay, so Tesla delivers over 90,000 vehicles despite the pandemic and factory shutdown. That's
amazing.
pretty badass if you ask me. You know what I'm
Their
saying?
previous record was 88,000. You want to talk about rising to meet a challenge?
Yep. He's like, "Oh, really? You don't think I can do this?" Yep. Okay. So all you gamers, we got about a minute and a half. All you gamers out there, the Xbox Summer Game Fest event will have more than 60 downloadable demos. Now this is cool. As if you're going to buy the new Xbox. But the same Summer Game Fest, to me, I like playing the demos. It really gives me the, okay, I don't want to buy these. I want to buy these.
Yeah.
I don't want to buy these. I buy this. This is crap.
Yeah.
Download what you can download, and I'm pretty sure Adam will tell you if you have an Xbox, first thing you do should always have an external hard drive attached to it, so that way you can download everything to there, and then pull in what you want, and then delete what you don't want. Right?
Definitely love playing the demos because it gives you a feel for the game.
Absolutely. I'm saying it's like you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And this is the last one. U.S. Supreme Court rules in favor of Booking.com, which allows trademarks for generic website names. This, I think, could be dangerous. It could be good,
How
but
so?
it could be dangerous. Well, because, you get these people, these fly-by-nights that go in and get these, they like Booking.com or whatever. Like, say if I went and got WeBeamTV.com and then I shut down WeBeamTV.com, someone else wants the name, then it's not going to be readily available. I don't know. I think generic stuff should not be allowed to be copyrighted. Just me.
I see your point because the thing about a copyright is I don't know that it has to be original unpublished. That's for patents.
Well,
but if you've got a generic term and you are running let's say
travel.com,
coffeecup.com,
right?
Okay, and the fact that you are coffeecup.com means that you can run with that and use it, and even if and have it trademarked, so nobody else can call themselves. Let's think about this: coffeecup.com. If you were any other website or business, why the devil would you want to call yourself?
And it's not just the
coffee.
It's not just the coffeecup.com. They're allowing them to get into other generic words, which I think is a problem. Because then if someone gets a copyright on it, goes out there and I use the word coffee cup, and they've trademarked coffee cup or they've copyrighted coffee.
No. It has to have the .com.
Oh, it does have to have the .com.
Yeah,
all right.
So
we're getting yelled at in the ears.
So what's the problem?
I don't know. We'll talk about it next week because we're out of time.
There you go. Yeah, we're out of time.
Tech Shamans at WeBeamTV.com. We'll see everybody next week. Talk to you later.
We got the plans 'cause we are the Tech Shamans. We understand 'cause we are the Tech Shamans. Dude, I got this cool thing to show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff. Awesome. Yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Cool.